Does America feel great again?
No, not at all. I can get laid off tomorrow, then I'm pretty much homeless. Because, you can't save now. Every dollar you have has to go to gas, groceries, bills, rent.
Does America feel great again?
Not in the way everyone wanted. With gas prices, and you can't afford to breathe at this point.
What does it feel like to be living in these conditions right now, in these economic conditions right now?
Hurt, very hurt. I try to do, sorry, I cried. I try to do a lot for my kids, and I can't do much.
It's hard, especially as a father, because you ain't got that extra cash to go and spoil your kids. So it's pretty difficult.
The middle class is definitely being affected. Yeah. Low class might as well, crawl in a hole because they can't afford anything. Drill, baby, drill just didn't go, I don't think.
You still can't beat inflation, no matter what. Well, it seems we never catch up, no matter what. We're always behind the 8 ball.
We can't keep doing this. Last night I went to the grocery store. 2 bags of groceries, $72. This morning I stopped and filled up my tank, $60. I just put gas in it 2 days ago. I do drive a little bit to work, but no matter what you do, you got nothing. No matter how hard you work, no matter how early you go in, no matter how much you make, you got nothing. At the end of the week, you got nothing. Can't afford a house. Can't afford food. Can't afford utilities. Every time you go to the store, a bag of chips is like $6 or $7. A loaf of bread, $5. Gallon of milk, $5.
It's the latest sign of a slowing economy. 23,000 jobs lost last month, the opposite of what experts had predicted. The latest wage data was also disappointing, showing pay hikes aren't keeping up with inflation.
It's gone completely off the cliff, and nobody's doing anything about that. The average person can't afford to go to the grocery store anymore.
I definitely think the fuel is the biggest impact, but I also do think it's temporary.
War-induced high gas prices are averaging just over $4 a gallon nationwide. Inflation has crept up since Trump took office, despite what he said last week.
We have very low inflation. We brought inflation way down.
His top economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, did acknowledge some of the problems on Sunday. But he insisted the employment rate is on the rise in some key sectors. The most recent CBS News poll found voters remain skeptical. 55% said the Republican Party's policies are hurting their cost of living. A concern that is now being echoed by Democratic candidates like Michigan's Abdul El-Sayed. He's hoping a focus on affordability will help him win a seat in the U.S. Senate.
In an interview late last week, President Trump said GOP voters may be angry with Republicans in Congress, but voters are not angry with him. The distinction may not matter much, however. Voters historically hold the party in the White House responsible for the state of the economy, especially in an election year, Vlad.
The economy is eating America where it matters the most, from everyday lives to their wallets. Well, in this video, we'll look at the reaction of voters who are deeply frustrated with the current state of the economy, including some who says they would give President Trump's economic performance a failing grade, and explain why they are feeling or they feel things are getting harder. Well, let's watch some of these clips. Please don't forget to like my video, subscribe to my channel, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right, guys, let's get into it.
Several years back, I made the decision to leave the United States. Not a great hair day. We'll have to go to the restroom and adjust that. But I decided to leave the United States for reasons of logic. It was not an emotional decision. In fact, emotions had to be shut up because I didn't want to leave the United States. Emotional attachments, years of investing into a city. 12 years I was living in LA. I built something there, had a life, friends, family. But I got up and I left the United States because Logic has to prevail. Deep down, I'm a stoic, okay? I don't allow emotions to play a part in any executive decisions, and neither should you. Though emotions are going to fuel certain thoughts and they're going to motivate us, when making an executive decision, you should not let them be a deciding factor. At least I do not let them be a deciding factor. And I looked at logistics. What's happening in the United States right now? What's been happening in the United States systematically since I was a kid? I was going through my things and I read a poem that I wrote in 2004, 5, and it was while I was still in university, and it was called "America, Where Have You Gone?" And it was all about all the things that have happened in the United States, the way we'd been deregulated. These were during the Bush years. Those were bad years. Now they look like nothing compared to what we're seeing, but realistically, they were one of the nails in the coffin. America, where have you gone? And I talked about the America that my grandfather had come to in 1947 when he got off the boat, and he was a waiter, and he was able to work as a waiter and build a life for himself. Within a few years, he was able to go back to Cyprus, find my grandma, bring her back to America, married her. They built a life. A few years after they had been married and had a kid, he bought the diner that he worked at, the Pretty Lady Diner in the Bay Area. He worked. He bought a house in 1960, in 1961, somewhere there. After 1 year, he paid it off. Bought that house for $17,500. At the time, that was a lot of money, but it wasn't so much that he couldn't pay it off in 2 years. He was able to put his kid through school, my mom. He was able to buy stocks. He made great investments. He bought Apple when Apple was new. He bought IBM in the 70s. He invested his money smartly, and the man died with a good chunk of wealth, which my grandma was able to inherit. By the time I was coming around, there's no such path to home ownership. There's no such path to starting your own business with the same potential, the same ability to take risks. The American dream was alive and well when my grandpa came. He brought 3 of his brothers. He brought my grandma's brother. My whole chain of family in the Bay Area, my American roots come from the fact that my grandpa was able, with $40 in his pocket at the time, to go to the United States and build something. Now, in 2012, after years, a decade of being out of the United States, living in Europe and studying, I decided to do the same thing. I had a month's rent. I had a car that I had inherited, a 1993 Nissan Sentra that I inherited from my grandpa's brother, Michalis, and I had $340 cash in my pocket. It was a different kind of journey than my grandfather had. Was I able to build something? I was. I also had 2 master's degrees and in a profession that didn't matter. But, you know, like, I had certain advantages, and yet still, that American dream was just always something that was being pitched to me, but not something that was realistically tangible. I realized something as I climbed in the ranks in different fields in the United States. I worked in one field for many years, then I switched over to business, and I realized something. The more I brushed shoulders with people at the top, the more I worked with people at the top, is that everyone at the top, almost everyone at the top, was born into the top. It wasn't like they were able to scratch and claw their way up. We hear these stories about, like, oh, they started with nothing. Very few people in the United States started with nothing. The percentage of people that become millionaires that don't come from wealth to begin with, it's a tiny percentage. It's a tiny, tiny percentage. Everyone that's wealthy almost comes from some form of wealth. The American dream, I mean, what does it take to buy a house now? You know, like, people get 50-year mortgages, and they have to get a mortgage on their mortgage. You know, they have to refinance and this and that to make investments. Most businesses go under in 6 months, and it's usually a capital thing. The American dream is not there. It's a slave nation. You cannot just, sure, there's AI and there's tech and there's this, but you still need someone to invest in you. You need still someone, some form of a benefactor, you know? And we hear these stories. It's like Hollywood with, like, oh, Clint Eastwood was climbing up a ladder when he got a job. Oh, Harrison Ford was this. That's 1 in a million, maybe 1 in a million. And even when you get there, how do you maintain it? What does a house cost now? I mean, I'm selling houses out here in Dubai. We're selling houses. You can get a villa, you know, for under $1 million in Dubai. A beautiful villa for $1 million or less. What do you get in LA, New York, Chicago, Miami for under $1 million? What does your food cost? What does your petrol cost? What do your cigarettes cost? It's untenable. Logic drove me out of the United States because I saw that people as a whole weren't standing up for themselves and weren't fighting for change. We feel rewarded from posts. We feel rewarded from certain protests. But where do they then lead? Has the change occurred? Are the Democrats good? Are the Republicans good? Is anyone doing what's best for America and for Americans? It doesn't seem that way to me. It's all corrupt. And when I moved to Dubai, the CEO of our company, who's a good friend of mine, we argued because Arabs love Americans. Arabs love America. They really do. And we argued because I said I think it would be better if China was the ruling power of the world. They would govern the world as a business better than America. And he fought with me and we argued, no, you're wrong because the Chinese this. I mean, he had his points, but I'm like, bro, it's different. Americans don't mind blowing people up. Americans don't mind killing their own citizens en masse. They're poisoning. They're doing this. There's all these factors. The American government is horrid. And the American people don't stand up for themselves. China would be a better world body governor. Maybe like a week and a half ago, he called me into the office and he's like, and he never tells me this. He was like, Stavru, you were right. China would be better because we're watching what's happening with Iran. We're watching Donald Trump do whatever he wants. We're watching the corruption unfold. And yet still, what is America doing? Not a goddamn thing. Complaining, but what are we actually doing? Why are we not on the streets? The reason the Second Amendment exists is to overthrow tyranny, not to shoot your neighbors, not to protect your house from an invader. That's not why we had it. They didn't have those problems back then. It was in order for the citizens to have the power to overthrow a tyrannical government. And that's what we have. I mean, we've reached the point where I'm looking at Bill Zarian running for office in Florida, and I'm like, oh my God. He's a better option than what's in there. And he's a scammer. And a bit of an idiot. And he's the best option on the poll, in my opinion. H.L. Mencken was right. A downright moron adorns the White House.
All right, Trump, we got a message for you, buddy. Here we go. Listen, yes, I'm driving. You can suck it. Here's the deal. So, Trump, you said that gas prices was going to go down and the economy was going to go up and all these things. And over the last, I don't know, almost 2 months, you keep telling us that gas prices are going to drop like a rock. Just drop like a rock. We don't buy your BS no more, okay? And I didn't vote for you, but I don't buy your BS because here's the thing. You made a statement one time to a colleague that works for you in the White House, and you, Mr. Trump, said, if I repeat it enough, people will start to believe it. And you've been saying gas prices was going to drop like a rock for the last almost 2 months going on now. And they still haven't went down. The price of goods still hasn't went down. Cost of living has went up. And you keep telling us this war's about over with, and it's not. And you keep telling us that there's a peace deal made and they really want to make a deal, and they haven't. So we don't buy it. And if you're a MAGA supporter or a Trump supporter and you still believe him, you probably need to go get yourself checked into a sane asylum because you're probably a little messed up in the head. Maybe a French fry short or two of a Happy Meal. You shouldn't buy his BS because he's been saying the same stuff for 2 months. Nothing's happened. MAGAs, come and get me on this one.
All of us farmers have officially fucked around and we have officially found the fuck out now, guys. I am on the verge of bankruptcy. I'm on the verge of tears. Overnight, all of my help fled. My help, out of fear for their safety, their lives, they fled. And now I am left out here standing in my unharvested carrot field. It is January and I'm in Kansas, and this is when carrot harvest goes in Kansas. This field should be full of workers, but all my workers left. And who the do you think is to blame for that? Every single one of them left. Now I have to by myself try to fill that truck with a load of carrots in one day, and I can't do that, guys. I have to get these carrots to market by next week, or my contract is terminated. This is $936,000 worth of carrots right here, and I can't pick them by myself. If they're unharvested, I will get kicked out of that contract, and I will get sued by the Planters Loves Carrots Company.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, please don't forget to like my video. Please subscribe to my channel and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Imagine being asked to grade the economy, and instead of giving it an F, you say, if I could go lower, I would. That tells you just how frustrated, some voters are feeling right now. For many Americans, the economy isn't just about statistics on a screen. It's about grocery bills, rent, mortgage, gas, healthcare, and whether the paycheck actually lasts until the end of the month. Some voters who supported Trump expected his economic promise to make everyday life more affordable, right? Now, some are even questioning whether those promises are delivering the result they expected. But here is the reality. The economy is complicated. Inflation, interest rates, global trade, house costs, government policy, and decisions made years earlier can all affect what Americans experience today. So blaming everything on one person doesn't tell the whole story, right? Still, voters have every right to judge the leaders in front of them. Yes, they have every right. And that is where the political pressure becomes interesting. Will frustrated voters remain loyal to Trump, or will the economic pain eventually change their mind? Because when people can't afford the life they worked for, political loyalty can suddenly become a lot more complicated. What grade would you like to give the U.S. economy right now? What grade? Is it a C, a A, a B, a D, or a F? Please, I would like you to drop your thoughts in the comment, and please don't forget to like my video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your notification for more honest conversation about the things that is happening around the world. Once again, thanks for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye. Love ya. Mwah.